So today we have the honor of laying to rest Corporal Thomas Harley Cooper. Next of kin is his daughter, Virginia Frogel. He was born November 2nd, 1921, and was taken from us November 20th, 1943. Little information. Born November 2nd, 1921 in Omaha, Nebraska, Thomas was blessed to the union of Thomas Grady and Aileen Cooper. On September 18th, 1940, 72.5, 144-pound, blue-eyed brunette walked into a Nashville, Tennessee Marine Corps recruiting station and enlisted. The 2nd Amphibian Tractor Battalion was activated on March 18, 1942 at Marine Barracks, San Diego. A unit of the 2nd Marine Division, they were equipped with the LVT-1, the boys called them Amtraks. Harley's unit was shipped out with the 1st Marine Division to meet the Japanese tide sweeping across the South Pacific. Private First Class Cooper's first taste of combat would come in the Solomon Islands. Following the Battle of Guadalcanal, the guys enjoyed the sights, scenes, and hospitality of Wellington, New Zealand. There, many received medical treatment for tropical ailments such as malaria, while some continued to suffer wounds of all kinds dealt by their Japanese foe. Marines coming fresh from the United States would fill in the ranks. Corporal Cooper's promotion meant that some of these kids were his responsibility. He taught them that it's the hits that count, the value of your Amtrak and her crew, and the virtues of dedication, perseverance, and training. Before they shipped out, Harley and his fellow veterans also explained carefully that all of the Japanese and the Solomons had just taught the battalion. Corporal Cooper was with his brothers as part of Alpha Company of the 2nd Amphibian Tractor Battalion when they landed on Basio as part of Operation Galvanic. The mission of the 2nd Marine Division was to secure the island in order to control the Japanese airstrip in the Tarawa Atoll, thereby preventing the Japanese Imperial forces from getting closer to the U.S. and enabling U.S. forces to get closer to mainland Japan. It had become one of the bloodiest battles in the Corps' history. It was November 20th, 1943, when young Harley, barely 22 years old, perished. He was reportedly soon buried after on Basio Island, a temporary location chosen by his fellow Marines, the survivors of the battle, until the fallen could be recovered and returned to their families. Having a loved one away from home during the holidays is always trying. However, having a son or husband off fighting in the war left the whole family on edge. The fact that this battle took place just before Thanksgiving meant that most of the families who had unknowingly earned the Gold Star would receive their heart-wrenching telegrams on Christmas Eve, some on Christmas Day, or even New Year's Day. For his service and sacrifice, Harley's brand new bride and baby girl accepted his awards and decorations, including the Purple Heart, the Combat Action Ribbon, the World War II Victory Medal, the American Campaign Medal, the Marine Corps Presidential Unit Citation, the Asiatic Pacific Theater Campaign Medal, Marine Corps Expeditionary Medal, and Gold Star lapel button. Despite the heavy casualties suffered by U.S. forces, military success in the Battle of Tarawa was a huge victory for the U.S. because Gilbert Islands provided the U.S. Navy Pacific Fleet a platform from which to launch assaults on the Marshall and Caroline Islands to advance their Central Pacific campaign against Japan. In the immediate aftermath of the fighting on Tarawa, U.S. service members who died in the battle were buried in a number of battlefield cemeteries on the island. The 604th Quartermaster Graves Registration Company conducted remains recovery operations on Basio between 1946 and 47, but Cooper's remains were not identified. All of the remains found on Tarawa were sent to the Schofield Barracks Central Identification Laboratory for identification in 1947. In October 1949, a military review board declared Harley non-recoverable. In March 1980, the Central Identification Laboratory, a predecessor to the DPAA, sent officials to Basio Island to receive skeletal remains that had been recovered during a construction project. Of these 3 recovered, 2 were identified. The 3rd was declared unidentifiable and was subsequently buried in the National Memorial Cemetery of the Pacific in Honolulu. In 2016, the Department of Veteran Affairs disinterred the remains of 94 Tarawa unknowns from this cemetery for identification. The remains were consolidated and sent to a lab for analysis. On August 9th, 2019, the DPAA identified the remains of Corporal Cooper, and his daughter received the call from the Marine Corps POW MIA section with the good news. To identify his remains, scientists from the DPAA used dental and DNA analysis. Harley will soon be returned to his family and laid to rest with full military honors. Thank you. So again, today we're out here. I know it's a little chilly. We decided not to wear the coat so we can look our best and give everything we can to let the next of kin see what that their fallen one deserves. Does that make sense? So again, if you didn't catch on, she was conceived and he deployed. I think it was last night, and she was actually there at the transfer point when Delta was receiving his remains. That was the first time that his next of kin was actually ever allowed to be near her father, bringing his remains home from World War II. All right, so think about that when you're out there. Do your best, look sharp, and give it for him, okay? Thank you.